Welcome to the Geek Easy, fellow geeks. Let's pop a beverage open because today I'm going to be doing a review of the Batman First Night #1, published by DC, written by Dan Jurgens, art by Mike Perkins, and colors by Mike Spicer. I didn't know this book was coming out. I went in to my shop today to look for my DCs, and boom! This was sitting on the shelf. So I did it. I pulled the trigger. So here's the front, and let me give you the synopsis. The year is 1939. The world, still reeling from the horrors of the First World War, is on the brink of tipping into an even more gruesome conflict as fascism is on the march and gathering strength in America's darkest corners. Against this backdrop, a series of violent murders has begun in Gotham, and the recent emergence of the mysterious vigilante known as the Batman has the power brokers of the city living in fear of institutional collapse. All the evidence in the murder investigation defies logic. The perpetrators are all men who have died in the electric chair. But when the Batman comes face to face with one of these sickening anomalies, he barely escapes with his life, throwing into question his ability to survive in a world that is brutally evolving around him. Alright. I did not read the back one before I got this. But this is a price point of $6.99. And it is book 1. I don't know if you can see that. What does it say? That book 1? It should say that. But anyway, it starts out with a bunch of just headlines about what's going on in Europe. And we have just this beautiful art right here by Mike Perkins of the city in a voiceover of the radio. Kind of setting things up. Then you have somebody giving some instructions about stuff, talking about things. And then you have Gordon here going to a crime scene about another city councilman who had been murdered. And it is the third one in recent times, and he is boom killed and then decapitated. And at this point, you have Gordon basically talking to a little flapper girl who was a witness to the murder. She wasn't the councilman's wife. She was his date for the night, shall we speak. But this is the beginning of what we see of the investigation that is into the murders, and they have nothing. And you have Batman, Bruce out here picking him up. So this is back in the days, 1939. This is back in the original period of Batman when he first came out. It's just him. He's just starting out. There's no Batcave. There's no Batmobile. He doesn't even have Alfred. It's just him living alone. He's got his lab set up in the back of the mansion. He goes around in his was it a red in his red car. And that's when he comes across, first time you see him, he comes across a guy that turns out to be like a zombie-like thing, and fights him. So this is the Batman as he is meant to be, or not as meant to be, but as he was when he was being, when he was created. He doesn't kill in this one so far, but he's not a super good fighter. People still don't know who he is. They think he's just a myth. Gordon hadn't met him yet. He didn't know who he was. He basically says he likes to think. In this book, he says he likes to think that Batman was actually a cop who was tired of all the corruption. And I like the way they have him here. Look at the way they have him written here. He's got a little picture here where he's talking to a rabbi who helped him after he got trounced by one of the bad guys. And they talk about the state of the world. But the story is just really, really good. It's more noir. It's more mystery. It's kind of like a Private Eye type thing with kind of gruesome murders. So you don't know, we don't know who's behind it. You have him dealing with informants. One of his informants is the guy who runs a brothel. This guy is sort of like his Huggy Bear, if you're old enough to remember who Huggy Bear was. But this guy, he is Batman's, one of his snitches, one of his guys that tells him what's going on. And you can tell Batman doesn't like dealing with this guy because he's a criminal, but he's one of the better ones, so to speak. He treats his girls well. He doesn't, beat them up. And he gives him information. As long as he's straight with him, Batman isn't going to take him out right away. But the story is just very well written by Dan Jurgens. It is just, it's the old 30s, 40s type of detective story. I know I've said this before. And just take a look at the art here. It's just, it's just incredibly well done. And the world, the world building in this thing Gotham is more gritty, more dark in the way it's supposed to have been. You have people who are losing hope because of all the crime, and just it's the Great Depression still hasn't ended. World War II's kind of going to be wrapping up here in a little bit. They're concerned about what's going on over in Europe, and so there's all this stuff. Plus, the crime rate is going crazy here, and that is an awesome situation here. I mean, not like something we need to aspire to have here, but this is the way Batman was intended to be, and I love this story, and I am giving this book a 5 out of 5, and say pick it up, because if you like Batman, this is one of the best Batman stories I have read in a long time, or if not ever. So I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5 and recommend heartily that you pick it up. The story is incredible. The art is incredible. And it's worth the $7. Forget it. Anyway, let me know in the comments below what you think of it. If you read it, like, subscribe, and most of all, enjoy your comics.